friend of the night, it's Susie Grumble!
Is Loaf hiring? I'm having a really, really nice time. I'm having such a nice time that my friend came over and asked me if I was okay. She said, she advised me to take a breath of fresh air outside, so I took one deep breath and I've held it ever since, so I'm trying to make it last a really long time, and I think I'm about to finish, so I might have to gasp for another breath. What I was actually going to say, I was going to start this set by saying, once upon a time. Recently I've been reflecting on that phrase, because it's been the phrase for centuries to introduce a story. And if you think about it, when you say once upon a time, you're basically just saying, so this one time, yeah? And then you launch into the story. Well, what I would like us to do, I would like us to go on an adventure together, if that's all right. Okay. I'm going to give you, thank you. Is that the woo lady over there? Keep it going whenever you want to. That's fine, the sign will not be in use. Okay, so we've got two options for you. We can either go on a quest in search of a cavern that is filled with gold. Just kind of standard, boring, obvious. I mean, if you pick that, you might as well have not come tonight. And the other option is we go on a quest seeking out a cavern of destiny, which is filled with wonder, dreams, and possibly death. Okay, so hands up for gold.
Hey.
Damn it, I knew it would be. We've got some beef that goes way back. Okay.
She's saving it for sweets or antique meats.
Yeah. And I'm also vegan, so I'm particularly. Hands up for the Cavern of Destiny / Death. Yeah, okay, this is the right crowd. Thank you, everybody. Okay, all right. The inspiration for this was actually because a friend of mine recently sent me a message. We'll call him Pritchard Bad. And he sent me a message saying that he had recently looked up my surname in a dictionary of surnames, and I was like, oh yeah, that is a new version of stalking. And he traced me back to 1066, so my surname is Grumble, which actually was originally Grimbald. And I already knew this, because I was told that means brave and bold. But he said, no, it means helmet bald, which I think was maybe a reference to my ancestors' hairlines. I can feel Richard, or rather Pritchard, is nervous, because he's like, I sent that message to you very recently, so, okay, but on with the adventure. Okay, all right. My adventure name is Buttercup, or Butts for short. What's your name?
I'm JC.
Jay-Z, did you say? Wow, I don't know. Nobody's in the house. Josie. JC. Yeah. That's lovely, that's really nice. And what's your adventure name?
Ooh.
Whatever you want.
Miss Tinkle.
That's really nice. I love that. Thank you for coming on the adventure, Miss Tinkle. I've been thinking about how we don't really hear the stories of all of the people that presumably at some point or other were asked, like, do you want to come on this big adventure with me? And they say, no, thank you. I had plans to stay in and watch the latest season of Bridgerton, which was written by a 10-year-old with the plot that essentially goes, and then they kiss. And I have watched every single episode. Okay, so what we're going to do is if you could all just take a look at each other and just think, is this someone I want to go on a quest with? Okay, good. From that reaction, all right, everybody sets off on the quest, walking about 30 yards apart. So the casual onlooker, they think that everybody thinks the person next to them smells a bit raw. And at that point, something happens, which is due because we've already eaten about 4 minutes of this 10-minute slot. And you see a dragon flying overhead, looking incredibly and unexpectedly cliche. And one of you shouts, "Charizard, I choose you!" And is instantly burnt to a crisp for saying something from the wrong universe, and also something that the dragon thought was particularly overdone. Ironically, all that is left is a pile of ash. Yeah, we got some Pokemon packs. Alright, and everybody in the crew, people are burning up, left, right, and centre. Is this an opportunity to do a topical, politically themed joke? The answer is always no. Some of you, like collectively, you feel a sort of thrill because you realise that tomorrow people are going to say, "Oh, last night you were on fire." When in fact they're going to say, "You got roasted." Okay, and when everything seems like it's about to go up in smoke, one of you makes a joke about how all of the flames reminds you of the dating app Tinder. Would. And the dragon dies instantly and falls face first to the ground as a deep metaphor for the wider comedy scene. So that's great. I mean, most of you are dead, but if anything, that makes it a little bit easier. It's a more manageable party, and you look around, you think, was any of this worth it? Do you want to continue?
Yeah!
Great. I'm glad some of the ghosts chipped in as well. So you walk towards this grassy path in between the trees, and bam! You violently explode in an explosion. I didn't have time to fuck with the thesaurus when I was writing this. It's a minefield! Bombs everywhere! Which, you know, was a risk you knew when you signed up to this, that bombing is part of the trade, as they say, that village somewhere. So what are you going to do? You can't move forward, like you don't know where the bombs are. What's going to happen? So, you, gentlemen over here, I'm going to ask you to save everyone, okay?
Sure.
The way that you're going to do that,
Let's do it.
the way that you're going to do that is you're going to tell me the cheesiest joke you've ever heard.
Pressure. You really put me on the spot.
Okay, that's all right. You can call on the spirit world. We've already got a direct number from earlier, but if anybody right there is burning to say one, if you can help them out, but otherwise we are just going to stare at you. This is
What do you call a fish with no eyes?
What's that? Thing from the deep.
What do you call a fish with no eyes?
What do you call a fish with no eyes?
A fish.
Hey, all the bombs go off! It is the biggest bomb I've ever seen. But you know what? When the air clears and in the silence, you realise that everything's okay. You survived. I mean, you didn't. But sometimes that's for the best, and inevitably someone will replace you. That's the nature and the circle of nightlife. Alright, so you walk along the ruptured ground and you see an opening. And usually you prefer to close, but on this occasion you have a hot sweat of excitement because is this the Cavern of Destiny? A voice from within says, "Is that my fucking ex?" A wizard emerges from the wizard hole. "But," he says. I say, "Oh yeah, that's me, that's my name." And all of you chorus, "Wizard, that's not very original." And he says, "Oh yeah, well look closer," and you look closer, and he is in fact thousands of ancient recipe books taped together with crunchy nut cornflakes and wrapped in cling film. And he looks at Butts and he says, "I was advised once upon a time never to date an adventurer, especially on a quest, but you. I broke my rule for you, and you broke my heart. Oh, Butts." And I say, "Yeah, that's still my name." And he says to everyone, he doesn't care there's a fucking audience, he's like, "I've been waiting here because I was told, it was foretold, that it was my destiny that you would come here to me. And I mean, how could you resist the lure? Destiny, dreams, death, but she always loved a good D." And But oh wow, you did take your time. How long has it been? And I say, a year to the day. But you know what it was? We had a nice thing. It was really nice for a while, but it kind of started to get a bit stale. It was the same thing over and over and over again. So I decided I needed to go out and get all the adventures out of my system before I settled down. So I promised myself I would take a year. And here I am. Because, truthfully, I believe you are my destiny. There's a lot of muttering from the crew who were like, a lot of people died, a lot of people are mutilated here for this fucking Bridgerton bullshit. As they watched the wizard hurtle towards the one known as Butts. And then they kiss. And he tastes of farts and regret. And I pull away and I'm like, you know what, I think we're better off as friends. And the riot nearly breaks out. And I suggest, well, let's see what's in the cavern. Yeah, like let's find out what's actually in this cavern that we all came here for. And it turns out it's filled with gold. Because sometimes you take the alternative route and you end up in the same place. But oh, did you have a more interesting journey?